Okay. Anyway, welcome everyone. In a series of 3 videos starting this evening and continuing for the next 2 meetings, I will demonstrate from blank to beauty how this coffee decanter was made. In the first video, it's about an hour long, we'll show the shape, designing, and turning. The second video will demonstrate embellishment, followed by the third video demonstrating making and attaching the handle, the spouts, and the lid hinge. And like I said, I'll be okay with answering questions during the video. So I'm going to do a screen share and we're going to get started here. And let's see here. Here we are. Where are you? There you are. And all right.
Okay. First thing we have to do is come up with a design for this. You'll notice I turned this around from storyline, but I've got tenons for both ends. And if we make something with a long, skinny neck like this here, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do the fat end first. And then once we get it shaped and hollowed, we'll we'll reverse the chuck, and then we'll take care of the neck and everything else that goes with it. So first thing I like to do is we'll get some measurements, and I've got and right now it shows to be about 10 inches long. Okay, and diameter is to be.
That's not diameter, that's circumference.
About 18 inches, somewhere in there, pretty close to 18 inches. Now we're going to lose some of that whenever we start turning this. So I'm going to base all my drawings and everything based on 17 inches in circumference, which means that we are going to have to divide that by 3.14. Grab a sheet of paper. So if our diameter is 17 inches,
our circumference is 17 inches.
And we divide that by 3.14. Divide that by 3.14. Will come up and equals to 5.4, which will be the diameter, or how far it is across here, which is 5.4 inches. Okay. So anyway, so there we've got it. Now, so far as the design of this, we like the, you've heard of the golden mean, which is, 2/3, 2 and 1. Okay. So what we want to do, we want the bottom to be 1/3 of the total height, and then the neck and everything to be the 2/3. So it kind of balances it out a little bit. All right. So let's kind of make the design up here. Just kind of see what we could do. Let me go ahead. This kind of washes it out if you want it. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, I turned out the light. It makes light a little easier to see. Okay, so we got 10 inches. So 1/3 of that is roughly 3 inches, which is, let's see, say it's 3.5. And then there is, so the rest of it, which will be, let's see, and 3.5 on the bottom of the page. Okay, that's right there. And then the rest of it will be 6.5, which will be the top part, which is right there. All right. Now you're saying it's 5.4 inches will be the diameter. So half, so 5.4 is roughly almost 5.5. So here, right like this, about right there. Okay. So what we're looking at is a shape that looks something like this. Start out at the bottom, go around like this, and it comes up like this, and then it'll go up to here like this. And then the same thing over here, like this, here, and then goes up here like this. And this top will also include, let's say we got us a spout or something here, and then we will have a lid. This will be the lid. Okay. Now a handle will probably do something like this. Come up and come over this. Okay. Something kind of like that. All right. And then for the spout, we'll put it right here. So the spout will come back and go like this. Like so. Okay. That's about what we're looking at here. Now, well, let's make the spout a little bit higher. Okay, it's kind of a rough sketch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this design and I'm going to put it into a drawing program that will come up with a drawing that actually depicts what we're going to do. Okay, so let me do that and let me get back with you. Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Now,
here we are. We're going to,
now I'm going to interrupt here. I use a drawing program whenever I design something, but that way it'll become apparent why later on. But you don't have to have something like this if you got a set of you got a compass and some French curves and a straight ruler. You can do this if you got the measurements and everything. So anyway, we're going to start again.
make a drawing of that sketch earlier. So we're going to start out by making some various lines here. This is going to be the base. This is the baseline here, okay? Now we said that the reservoir was going to be 3.25 inches tall. So we're going to put a line up here 3.25 inches from this one here. So here we go. All right. Now these two lines are 3 to 4 inches apart. Now the total height of the item that we're going to make was roughly what, 9 7/8. So we're going to make a line up here. It's 9 7/8 from here to there. So here we go. 9.875. It goes from there to there. Okay. Now we'll check our measurements. Okay, from here to there, 9 7/8. Okay. All right, now I'm going to draw a line that's right in the middle of these two lines here. And what I'm going to do now is draw a line that is 5.5 inches, which is the width of our reservoir is going to be. So here, draw it anywhere and make that 5.5. All right. Now I'm going to move this into the middle of this one, such that the here like that, such that this length is the same as this length, and this length is the same as this length. So it's all symmetrical. Now our lid or top is going to be down below this line. So what we're going to do, I'm going to make that 1.5 inches. So I'm going to offset this line 1.5 inches. Okay. All righty. Here and there. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to draw a line from there to the middle of this line and draw a line from there to the middle of this line, which you'll see why here in a little bit. Okay. Now let's outline our reservoir. What we're going to do that is we're going to make a oval here, okay? That is the width of our reservoir. Now, to take the height, I'm going to just do this, okay? So that's the height and the width. Thing is, we got to put a foot down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this up just a tad, so about that much. But that way I'll have room to put my foot, maybe a little bit more here. There we go. All right. Okay. Now we got to figure out. We got to do the width of our neck. So I want to make it an inch. So I'm going to offset this for half this and this for half an inch. All right. Here we go. And let's see here. Oh, and half an inch. All right. So that'll be half an inch. That'll be a half an inch. That's going to be a half an inch. That's for a lid too. Okay. All right. Now I'm not going to have a straight. It's not going to be straight. No, I'm going to have a curve in here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to offset these lines so that I'll be able to place my curve. So I'm going to make offset this 3/4 of an inch. Okay, here, and here we go. There. Whoop, sorry, wrong line. Here we go. All right, yeah, here we go. This one. Okay, there we are. Okay, so now we need to make our curves here. So I'm going to go up here to the arc. I'm going to do an arc. Now this is where I wanted to have separate lines here. Okay, so I'll start here, and then I'll go to the middle of this line. It snaps there, and it comes down here. Okay, same thing over here, there, and there. All right. Now for the long neck, here, and there, and here, there, and there. Okay. All right. So that's our curve. I tell you what. Let me change the color of some stuff here to make it a little easier for us to see it. And we'll make that green. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to convert that, and that to green. And here we go. Come on. There we go. There we go. We see it now. All right. Okay. So I'm going to draw a line here, there, and there for the top. I'm going to draw a line there and there for the bottom of the top. Okay. Now I'm going to get rid of some lines right quick that I don't need them anymore. So I'm going to go click on that, 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 that. That's already been clicked, okay? And then I'm going to erase a point, okay? And same thing here. I don't need these anymore. So I'm going to get rid of those. All right, here we go. There's our neck. That's the way it looks, okay? Now here I want to do a little bit of transitioning between the neck and the reservoir. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a curve here, right here, like so. Okay, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to make it a little bit more. There we are. All right. Now I'm going to reverse copy this from here to over here. So what we do is we mirror that, and that will end here and there. There it is. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to do a little bit more to this. I'm going to move this out a little bit here. Okay. And we're going to go there. Whoops. Let's try that again. Oop. I need to move it. There we go. All right, here we go. And there's that. Now I'm going to mirror this over there again. So mirror, there, 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 and I don't want to erase that. Now I'm going to put a line between these two. Okay. All right, now let's see what she looks like here. Let's see. No, we're going to trim some stuff here. Trim that, that, and that. Okay. Now I'm gonna lower this down just a little bit because I want to get it down here a little, about right there. There we go. All right. And I'm going to do a little bit more trimming here. Come on. There. Okay, see? So now we got a little bit of a break here. I think it always makes it look a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to trim that line and trim that line. Okay. All right. Okay, now let's do our foot here. Let's make our foot about 3 inches. So I'll offset this 1.5 inches here. So 1.5 inches. This line here, this is the center line, so 1.5 inches that way, 1.5 inches that way. So that's should be 3 inches. Well, let's check it right quick. Distance. Whoops. I forgot something here. No. Okay. All right. Now we'll check our distance here. From there to there. 3 inches. Okay. We're good. All right. Now, how are we going to do our foot? Well, I'm going to offset this bottom line. Oh, how much room have we got here? 20 here and there. Not much. So I'm gonna make this 1/4 inch. I'm gonna offset it 1/4 inch, make it a 1/4 inch thick foot. Okay. there. Okay. So I'm gonna do a little bit of trimming here now. But that. I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna get rid of that. And that. And that. All right. Then I'm gonna erase these. Okay. Now here is our foot. Now it looks a little blocky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of round this up a little or curve it a little bit there. And let's see. Let's try something else here. Let's go there, there, there. Okay. Now I'm going to copy this, reverse copy this over to the other side. So let's go mirror. We'll select that from here to there, and we do that. Okay, now I'm going to trim up some stuff. There, 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 there. Okay, now looking at this, okay, it's going to be a real challenge to make this point in here. So I'm not going to do that. Okay, what I'm going to do is take this curve and bring it on around to there. Same thing on the other side. Bring this curve on around to there. All right. Okay, great. Now we're going to do some trimming here. Trim that off. Trim that off. That, that, and that. And then we're going to draw a line there to there. Okay. There's our foot. All right, we're almost done. All we got to do now is the handle and the spout. So let's start off with let's do the handle. We'll start off here and we'll do a line here. Okay, kind of there. Okay, and next I'm going to do a curve here, here, and here. I'm going to flatten this curve out just a little bit. Something like that. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to bring this out. Yeah, about right there. All right. Then I'm going to draw a line from there to there. And then I'm going to do another curve there, there, there. Now, you're wondering why I didn't connect this to this, because I'll show you, because I'm going to offset this and fill that in, okay? So I'm going to offset this 3/8. Okay, here we go. That, that, that. Whoops. That. Now, come on. Here we go. All right. So this needs to go there. This needs to go there. All right. So what I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to go move this around to there. Okay. And then I'm going to push that up just a little bit. Okay. Now let's go up here and see if we can kind of smooth this out a little bit. There we go. And there. All right. And we'll trim that. And we'll trim that. All right. And we'll bring this to there. All right. I'm going to trim this off so we'll have a surface to connect to our reservoir. There. Whoops. What happened here? Trim. There we go. All right. Well, I don't like that. Let's trim that. There we go. That's the way. That's the way. Okay. Now let's do our spout. Okay. So we'll start off with a curve. Let's start about right here. All right, so there. And then we'll do another curve. There, there, there. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit. There we go. Okay. All right, now here, let's flatten this out just a tad. How about right there? Okay. Now I'm going to offset this 3/8. All right. There and there. And there and there. Okay. Now I'm going to do this, bring this up there, connect to that. Now I'm going to put another little curve right here to like this. About like that. There we go. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to bring this up a little like that. And then I'm going to extend it out a little bit like that. And then I'm going to put me another curve there, there, there. Okay, I need it. Bring it up a little bit. Out. There. A line from there to there. All right, there we are. Now, the only thing we lack right now is a hinge, and I just happen to have one handy here. So let's see. Yeah, this one. What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy that one over to this other drawing. All right. Here we go. Make sure it all matches up here. Okay. It's a little bit too far in. All right. Okay, we're going to move it out just a tad to get it to line up. There. This line was copied from the other drawing, so I want to delete it. Okay, there we are. And whoops, a second, I'm missing something here. No, I guess not. All right. Okay. All right. Now, I'll have to carve this thing out. I've got a template for that already from a previous project, so that'll work out fine. Now, here we go. We've got it. It's all ready to print. And I'm going to get rid of that, get rid of these. Erase, okay, and this one too. All right. Erase. Okay, there we go. All right, I'm going to convert this all to one color. All right, now I'll print it out and I'll use this as a guide. What I'm going to do, I'm going to shadow turn it. What I'll have to do, I'll have to put the blank on the lathe and measure the shadow, and then I'll have to expand this to the shadow, because if I turn it to this, it'll be too, it'll be smaller than what we want. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and put some measurements in here so we can mark our blank when we get to the lathe. Here, there, okay. And let's see, this is 3 inches. All right. This is about 2 3/4. And this is, all right, the distance from here to this one is that. This distance across here is that. This distance from here to there is that. There. And the distance from here, there to there, that. All right, this gap from here to there is that much. Okay. And from our narrowest point here to there is 1 inch. From there to there is 1/2. There to there is 1.5, 1 inch. And this is 1.5 here. Come on. There we go. And from there to there is 1.5. And what we'll do with these is what we'll just cut them out on a sheet of paper, paste them to what we're going to make them from, and go that way. All right. So I will save this drawing. This is Eastern 4. Okay. And say, there we go. All I have to do now is print it out. Okay, we've mounted the blank on the lathe. I got the shadow platform underneath and a piece of paper. And what I've done is I've measured the distance of the shadow from this edge and the distance of the shadow from this edge. And I've adjusted the light such that the shadow is the same distance from each edge. Okay. Now that distance, I made a mark on where that shadow is. Now this distance will tell us how much larger we need to make our drawing that we put under here for this to follow whenever we do shadow turning. Now, for you folks that aren't familiar with shadow turning, I did a demo on this a while back, and I'm sure it's archived at the website. So I would encourage you to go look at that, and then you can understand how I set this up and go over things. Okay. So now I'm going to take this sheet of paper back to the computer, and well, I can just measure this now, and I can take that measurements back to the computer and then expand our drawing on that program and print it out such that then I'm going to put it right back on this. So let me do that right now, and I'll be back out here with the revised drawing here shortly. Okay? Right. Okay, here is our original drawing that we've got to expand. Now the shadow width across here was, you can read upside down, was 6 3/8. Okay. So that means that we've got to expand this by 6.375 divided by 5.5.
Let's get a little calculator up here. 6, okay. 1.16. So what I gotta do is increase this drawing here by 1.6 in every direction. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Here's our screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of this. And then I'm going to go up here where it says scale. And it's going to ask me the base point of the scale. So I'm going to put it right there. And then it's going to ask me for the scale factor, which is 1.16. There we go. And there it is, 6.38, which is exactly the width. Yeah, this is what we need right here. So let me print this out, and then we'll go back to the lathe and we'll start shadow turning. Okay, here we are. We got everything mounted up. Got the drawing that we go into our template back here. You should be able to see it right here. All of these lines are transition points for turning. You look here, here we go. See, you'll notice this line is for the top of the base. This line is for this cove here. I mean, this cove here, and the various places where we have to do transitions. Okay, so I mark those so that I can remember where and what we do. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start turning this, and I'm going to be wearing my face shield that's got the air blower in it. It's kind of loud, so I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot of talking. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
At this point, I've increased the speed to so I can't turn stuff that fast, but so just because I increased the speed on it. So
Take that off without having to do a bunch of. No.
Is there a meeting going on?
No. Work hard and quiet. New words said.
Okay.
He's showing us how to use.
Okay, we're at the point now where I'm gonna take off this chuck. And we're gonna hollow this out. There's some, I don't know, we're not gonna get it real thin. We're just gonna hollow it up enough to make it lighter, okay? So, let's do that. Let me get it set up and then we'll, commence. Okay, this camera messed up on me while I was doing this part, so I'm sorry. Anyway, I reverse chuck it and hollow it out and got this is a stitch up, so it's inside the hole that I drilled with a portion bit in order to get it hollowed out. So sorry about that, folks. But anyway, we'll finish up by doing this one, and then you can see back here. It's fairly close to what we're doing. So anyway, we'll finish up with this right here. Okay.
Negative rate scraper here.
Okay, I think we're got everything turned. We're gonna have to do some sanding, of course. But I don't think you'll be entertained by that. Well, turning this, I decided what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make another stopper appear. I'm not gonna park this here. Just gonna leave it, and then we'll make a stopper appear. Now, what I'm gonna do now, of course, is I gotta bore a hole through this. And, I've got a half-inch long shank drill bit that I'm gonna use on that. So I'm going to shut off the tape right now and go get that set up. Okay, I've got this on a bit, and we're gonna drill, just put a hole down through the neck here. Yeah, that's good. It's really wobbling, isn't it? Make a top for this. Now I'm gonna sand this down real well. Then I'll make a top for it, and then we'll proceed.
All right, folks, that's it for this video. The next one will be next week, and we will cover embellishing, how we're going to make this thing pretty. So if you got any questions now's the time. I'll be happy to answer them.
That was
Hey, Dewey,
amazing.
what was causing that wobbling at the end? Was it coming out of the chuck? Or?
I don't think it was a chuck. I think it was just that it warped on me a little bit.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think. I think it warped on me some. It's aggravating, but it
Yeah.
happens. So you gotta put up with it.
Right.
So, any other questions?
There was
Hey,
a branch inclusion up in the neck. Were you concerned with that at all?
no, no,
Okay.
no, because I knew, well, later on, I'm going to put, of course, I'm going to put resin on the outside, but I
Hmm.
turning it, that thing showed up. I didn't even know it was there.
Right.
until it showed up. And when it showed up, then I said, well, we'll just work through it. If it falls apart or flies apart, then we'll start over. But it hung
Okay.
together. So
Yeah. Good deal.
no problem.
Dewey, with those of us that aren't AutoCAD or CAD knowledgeable, there was a word I had and I lost it. Would something like Woodturner Pro work for designing stuff like that?
I'm sure. I'm not familiar with it, but any drawing program that will let you draw a specific length of lines and let you copy and all that, sure, it'll work just fine. But like I said, you can do it without a computer program. You know, if you get your measurements, then you can, if you got a compass and some French curves and a straight line, and you can do it all by hand.
True.
You know, like when I did the video on the handles, you can do it like that. And
Right.
so it's not that hard to do. It just takes a little bit more time. It's a little bit more effort, but other than that, you know.
What was the name of the program you used?
I was using AutoCAD. Now it's expensive. It's real expensive, but I was able to get a deal, and that's the reason I got it, because I got a deal, a one-time payment. But you usually have to pay a bunch of money every year for it. You know, it's a rental thing. But like
There's
I
a
said,
good program out there, Dewey, called Inkscape, and it works exactly like AutoCAD and it's free.
okay, there you go. But the reason I got AutoCAD is because I do other stuff other than just design shapes for wood turning. So, but like I said, there's a lot of other things you could do, and you could do it by hand. You know, so all you need to know is the measurements, and then whenever you get ready to do the expansion for the shadow turning, just like I said, measure the width of the shadow and divide it by the diameter of your blank, and that gives you how much you have to expand. So you multiply your measurements by that, and that will tell you how to draw it out bigger, so that it'll whenever you turn it, it'll match up to your
Right.
original drawing. But this is fairly straightforward. This video, I guess, you know, it's just turning, you know, and the design was a little bit new because you know, we haven't seen that before. But the next video is where it gets kind of interesting, because we do the embellishing on it and the carving and stuff. And I think it'll be much more interesting than this one. But I had to divide it up into 3 videos because it's so long. It was originally 4 hours, a little over 4 hours long. Now I was able to, this one was originally 3.5, 1.5 hours, but I was able to trim it down to an hour by cutting stuff out and speeding stuff up. So, yeah. And the next one is going to be it's going to be over an hour. So, but I think it's going to be much more interesting than this one. So,
Well, I appreciate the fact you reminded us about the shadowing, because I was trying to do something the other day and I'd forgotten all about that. Now I'll remember and go back and try again. Solve the problem.
it's good. It's great for duplicating stuff.
Yeah.
Like Ruby was talking about doing those I don't forget, the stanchions or whatever they were, and she said it took her an hour to do the first one. But with shadow turning, you can just jump right in there, and you just follow the design, and they all come out the same. You know, you don't have to worry about getting into the rhythm and a technique. Just follow the template, and they'll turn out the same every time. All right, I'm going to stop screen sharing now.
Great demo as always, Dewey.
Very
Sorry?
good.
Yeah, great job.
Yep,
Okay,
great demo.
great. Well, thanks, appreciate it. I hope there was something in there that y'all were able to pick up on. So,
Oh, absolutely.
I thought it was amazing.
okay. Anyway, if you have any other questions, just pop me an email or send me something on Facebook or or message me. I'll be happy to answer it.